Welcome everyone. This is a video about the Munich Appeasement of 1938, which is essentially a conference that was held by European powers. And in this video, we'll also be talking about the events leading up to this conference. And this time period is about the mid to late 1930s, and this is basically the time of German expansion prior to the invasion of Poland, which essentially starts World War II. But in order to understand the events of this time period, you have to look a little bit prior to this, in the 1920s and the early 1930s, and even the late 19 teens. So this is a map right here of World War One. You have Germany dominating Central and northeastern Europe, and you have Austria-Hungary dominating the southern portions of Eastern Europe. And you even have the Ottoman Empire dominating Turkey, the Middle East, and even parts of North Africa. So then after World War One, once these powers were defeated, you have Germany being reduced in size, you have Austria-Hungary being dismantled, and you have the Ottoman Empire being dismantled. And so, during the 1920s, this was a golden age in the United States. We are prosperous, we're rich because we won the war. But Germany is in a depression. The cities and the countryside were all destroyed from the war. And so this crippled the economy. And to add to it, all these European countries believed that Germany, because Germany lost the war, they put all the blame on Germany for the First World War. And so they gave Germany reparations, meaning that they had to pay back the other countries for loss of life, loss of property, etc. So you have a depression, and you also have debt on top of that depression. But eventually in 1929, the US goes into its own depression, known as the Great Depression, and this even cripples the world even more, because most of Europe is in a depression of its own because of World War One, and now with the U.S. going into depression, one of the leaders of the world economy, now the rest of the world is sinking even lower. And as this depression occurs across Europe, Germany has Adolf Hitler coming to power. He's rising in popularity. He's giving speeches and propaganda about making Germany great once again. He is really playing on the idea that Germany was unfairly treated due to World War One, and so his party, the National Socialist German Workers' Party, or also known as the Nazi Party, becomes very popular. So popular that at one point, the Reichstag, Germany's parliament, the majority of it becomes Nazi. And so as a result, when you have a parliament that has a majority of a certain party, that party puts up a leader. And in other countries that have parliaments, that leader would be known as the prime minister. In Germany's Reichstag, the leader is known as the chancellor. And so this is one of the first failures of just people in general, because when Hitler was put into the chancellor position, many non-Nazi party members thought that they could control Hitler, and that is one of the major themes of this time. And so you have Hitler in the chancellor spot. He's in control of the Reichstag, kind of running it, but he's not completely in power, because there is the German president, Paul von Hindenburg. And so the president and the chancellor work together to run Germany. But eventually, the president, Hindenburg, dies of natural causes, and as Hitler is chancellor, he's creating public works and helping Germany become industrialized, which is pumping up the economy. But after the president dies, he is able to work it so that the Reichstag, the building of the Reichstag, is burnt down, and he blames communists for the burning of the Reichstag. And with this hysteria going on in Germany, he's able to combine both the presidency and the chancellorship into one position known as the Führer. And in Germany, or in German, the Führer is the leader, the with a capital T, the leader. And so when Hitler is the chancellor and also the Fuhrer, he creates public works, industrializes Germany, and he increases the military, putting men in uniform, uh, essentially giving men paychecks. So the government is paying these people, people are getting paid, people can buy things and sell things, and this will pump up the economy. The only problem is that this is against the Treaty of Versailles. Germany was meant to be uh, demilitarized after the First World War, but now he's increasing his military. So this is the first violation of the Treaty of Versailles, which ended the First War, which is the treaty that ended the First World War. But because of all this industrialization, Germany is able to come out of its depression. But now the question is, what do you do with that increasing military and that, tanks, ammunition, weapons? What do you do with it? And so he starts to remilitarize the Rhineland, which is this yellow area right here. And the Rhineland was a very important area during World War One because through this land, Germany was able to invade into Belgium and then into France. And so after the First World War, uh, Germany had to demilitarize this zone. And this was for two reasons, because this prevented Germany from ever invading Belgium and France ever again. And the other one is that if Germany, for whatever reason, got out of control, France and Belgium could invade through this area and put Germany down without having to go through German military. So obviously, rearming this area is scaring France and Belgium, and also a violation of the Treaty of Versailles. So the United States is practicing its isolationist policy. It's trying to stay out of European affairs. And as a result of that, it doesn't join the League of Nations, which was set up after the First World War to help prevent future wars. But because the United States isn't in it, it doesn't have any real power to it. And so, nothing could really be done. There was some debates about putting sanctions onto Germany, but if you put sanctions onto Germany, many of the other countries surrounding Germany could be crippled in its economy as well, because many of these countries are depending on Germany's trade. So nothing is done. And that was in 1936, so mid 1930s. Then you have the annexation of Austria. And Hitler's justification for this is to unite all German peoples, to make a greater Germany, and this occurs in 1938. This too violates the Treaty of Versailles, because the Treaty of Versailles wanted to break up German-Austrian relations. They never wanted a single German-Austrian empire. But again, because there was no real power behind the League of Nations, and no one wanted to actually start another war, and no one wanted to actually put any economic restrictions on Germany, nothing was done. Obviously, people didn't want this to happen in Austria. Certain people didn't want to become part of Germany. But there were others, like some people in the United States, journalists for the magazine The Times, kind of compared this to Scotland joining England, creating Great Britain. But nothing could be done. So the next part of these events was the annexation of the Sudetenland. Now, the Sudetenland is this yellow area right now, right here, and this area is the western border of Czechoslovakia. And the reason why Hitler wanted this area is because a lot of the people in these areas were actually ethnic Germans. So these dark red spots were where most people were German. And so he took this land and he wanted to unite all Germans. So many of the European countries are getting very anxious about this because Germany is taking too much land away from other countries, and it's completely, again, violating the Treaty of Versailles. And so as a result, they hold a conference in Munich. And in this conference, this is where we get the term Munich Appeasement. Hitler says that the Sudetenland is Hitler's last request. He will not take any more land at all. And they all sign off on it. Chamberlain, who is the prime minister of Great Britain, goes back to Great Britain and holds up the paper that Hitler signs and says that he has achieved peace in our time, that he has stopped Hitler, there will be no more wars or anything in the future, except later. So this occurred. The annexation of the Sudetenland occurred in 1938. Later on in 1939, is the annexation of the whole country of Czechoslovakia, and then Hitler invades Poland, starting World War II.